when Neil Armstrong declared, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," as he descended onto the dusty surface of the moon, the world held its breath. But since then, a vocal minority has whispered doubts, turning this historic moment into a fertile ground for conspiracy theories. Was the moon landing a monumental achievement in human history, or the greatest hoax ever played on mankind? Theories about staged moon landings thrive on misinformation and misinterpretation of facts, appealing to the skeptic in all of us. These theories ask provocative questions. Why are there no stars in the moon landing photos? How did the flag flutter without wind? This essay aims to unravel these questions with clarity and scientific fact, reaffirming the reality of the moon landing. The significance of the moon landing extends beyond technological achievement. It symbolizes human potential and curiosity. To truly appreciate its impact, we must differentiate myth from reality, understanding the evidence and the monumental efforts that made this dream a reality. One popular conspiracy theory suggests that the lighting and shadows in the moon landing photographs are inconsistent, implying multiple light sources typical of a film set. Skeptics argue that in some photos, shadows cast by rocks and the lunar module don't align as they would under a single light source, the sun. But is this observation proof of a hoax? The explanation lies in the uneven lunar surface, which can create complex shadows and optical illusions. Unlike Earth, the moon doesn't have an atmosphere that diffuses sunlight. As a result, shadows appear sharper and more pronounced, which can be misleading when photographed from different angles. The unique environmental conditions of the moon are not always intuitive to us Earth dwellers. Moreover, lunar dust has reflective properties that can project light oddly, sometimes causing what appears to be inconsistencies in photos. Scientists and photographers have recreated similar scenarios on Earth under controlled conditions to debunk this myth, demonstrating how such shadow patterns are indeed possible with a single light source. Another enduring image from Apollo 11 is that of the American flag, seemingly waving in the airless vacuum of the moon. How could a flag flutter where there is no atmosphere? Conspiracy theorists use this as evidence that the footage was filmed on Earth and not on the dusty, airless lunar surface. The truth is less cinematic, but quite ingenious. The flag is equipped with a horizontal crossbar to hold it aloft. When planted into the lunar soil, vibrations from the pole being inserted cause the flag to move. Subsequent adjustments and movements by the astronauts handling the pole further contributed to this fluttering effect. NASA engineers anticipated that without an atmosphere, a hanging flag would not be visible, so they designed it with a crossbar for aesthetic and symbolic purposes. The apparent movement was not due to wind, but to kinetic energy transferred from the astronauts to the flag, a simple yet frequently misunderstood phenomenon. The Van Allen radiation belts, a zone of energetic charged particles that surround Earth, pose another question by skeptics. They claim that the intense radiation within these belts is lethal, and that the technology of the 1960s wasn't capable of safely transporting astronauts through this hazardous zone. First, it's important to note that the Apollo spacecraft's trajectory was carefully planned to minimize radiation exposure, passing through the thinnest parts of the belts and at high speeds, reducing the time spent within the radiation zones. Moreover, the spacecraft were equipped with adequate shielding to protect the astronauts from exposure to harmful levels of radiation. Measurements taken during the Apollo missions documented that the astronauts were exposed to lower levels of radiation than the yearly allowed limit for nuclear workers today. This data clearly indicates that, although the radiation belts were a significant obstacle, they were by no means an insurmountable one with the technology and knowledge of the time. In Section 5, The Silent Witnesses. What the astronauts say, we delve into the compelling evidence provided by the astronauts themselves. Eyewitness accounts from Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins, and Neil Armstrong offer first-hand testimony that counters the skeptics. Their detailed descriptions of the lunar landscape and the challenges they faced are consistently aligned with other collected evidence during the missions. Buzz Aldrin has been particularly vocal in confronting conspiracy theories, often explaining the science and logistics of the missions in various forums. These first-hand accounts are not just stories. They are robustly supported by hours of video footage, thousands of photographs, and several hundred kilograms of moon rocks, all meticulously catalogued and analyzed over the decades. This wealth of material forms a cohesive narrative that supports their accounts, validated by independent researchers worldwide. Moving on to Section 6, the technology argument. Could we really go to the moon in 1969? Critics often argue that the technology of the 1960s was not advanced enough for a moon landing. They point to the limitations of the era's computers and rocket technology, suggesting that such a mission was beyond our capabilities. However, this view underestimates the technological strides made during the space race, driven by intense geopolitical and scientific motivations. The Saturn V rocket, which launched the Apollo missions, remains one of the most powerful and sophisticated rockets ever built, designed specifically to overcome the immense challenge of lunar travel. Additionally, the onboard computers, while primitive by today's standards, were incredibly advanced for their time and perfectly suited to navigate and control the spacecraft. Moreover, the successful missions of the earlier Apollo flights, which tested various components and stages of the moon landing process, clearly demonstrated the capabilities of the technology. Each mission built upon the last, culminating in the successful landing of Apollo 11 and subsequent missions. Section 7. Photographic evidence, debunking the doubts. Conspiracy theorists often claim that the photographic evidence from the moon landings was fabricated. They point to anomalies and peculiarities in some images as proof. However, these claims do not hold up against scientific scrutiny and understanding of photographic techniques and lunar environmental conditions. Detailed analysis of the photos by experts shows that what are often claimed as anomalies are, in fact, predictable outcomes when taking into account factors like the moon's lack of atmosphere and the quality of the photographic equipment used. For instance, the absence of stars in lunar sky photos is due to the camera settings used, which were optimized for daylight exposure. Photographic experts and even amateur photographers have replicated many of the supposed anomalies in controlled conditions on Earth. These experiments clearly demonstrate that the unique conditions of the moon's surface can indeed produce the images captured by the Apollo astronauts. Section 8. The role of independent verifications. Apart from NASA's own records, independent sources from around the world verify the moon landings. Observatories in several countries tracked the Apollo missions as they traveled to the moon and back. Additionally, artifacts left on the moon, like the retroreflectors from the Apollo 11, 14, and 15 missions, are still used today to measure the distance from Earth to the moon. These retroreflectors allow lasers from Earth to be sent to the moon and reflected back, measuring the exact distance. This ongoing experiment confirms the landing sites and the presence of man-made objects on the moon. Furthermore, Soviet Union's own lunar program's findings corroborate the environmental details reported by the Apollo missions. Such verifications are crucial as they come from third-party sources, often from countries that were in direct competition with the United States during the Cold War. This global verification debunks claims that the moon landing was a unilateral hoax perpetrated by the US. Section 9. The Great Impact. How the moon landing shaped the world. The moon landing was more than a technical achievement. It was a pivotal moment in human history that influenced culture, technology, and international relations. The success of Apollo 11 fulfilled President Kennedy's promise of sending a man to the moon and returning him safely to Earth, demonstrating technological and political capability. This event sparked a wave of enthusiasm for science and technology, inspiring generations of engineers, scientists, and ordinary people. It catalyzed technological advancements in areas such as computer science, materials engineering, and telecommunications. The international prestige and the unifying effect of such an accomplishment cannot be overstated. Moreover, the Apollo missions helped initiate environmental movements by providing the first images of Earth from space, highlighting its fragility and interconnectivity. This new perspective of our planet has been integral in shifting thoughts about how we interact with our environment. Section 10. Conclusion. The legacy of Apollo 11. In conclusion, the evidence overwhelmingly supports the reality of the moon landings. The myths and conspiracy theories, while they have garnered attention, do not stand up to the rigors of scientific scrutiny and factual examination. The Apollo 11 mission, and those that followed, did indeed successfully transport humans to the moon and back. This monumental achievement should be celebrated not only for its technical accomplishments, but also for its capacity to inspire wonder and ambition across generations and nationalities. As we continue to explore the cosmos, the legacy of the Apollo moon landings serves as a beacon of human potential and a reminder of what humanity can achieve when united by a common goal. The moon landing remains a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. As we look up at the night sky and see the moon, we should remember the hard work, complex science, and bold spirit that made that giant leap for mankind a reality.